As part of this demonstration, we are going to learn how to create a virtual network. Now, virtual network as a concept gives us that private IP ranges on which we can protect our virtual machines and all the resources which allows us to put them under a virtual network. Now, to do so, the first thing which you have to do is to come down under the More Services and search for virtual network. Once you've selected that, it will list all the virtual network whatever has been created for you. To create a new virtual network, go ahead and click on Add. Once you click on Add, it will take you the Create Virtual Network tab. That is where it will ask you to specify the names, the address spaces and relevant details which is needed in order to have this virtual network in function. Let's go ahead and provide this virtual network name. Let's give it as Demo VNet. Here under the address space, these address spaces are under CIDR block notion. That means they are classless interdomain routing. Now, the difference between classless and classful is that here under this section, on the subnet masking part, you can select any number. You can select /24, /23, /22. On the other hand, the earlier version of network masking, wherein it was not classless, it was only allowing you to create a class A, class B or class C networking address spaces. Now on those cases, what will happen, you cannot create say /23. All you can create is say /8, /16 or /24. And that is why all these cloud providers of late have started specifying these address spaces under classless interdomain routing. Let's go ahead and provide an address space. Once you have given this address space, at the bottom it will list what are the IP address ranges or address you can get out of it. You can see that this particular address space provides you 256 addresses and they all will be starting from 10.4.0. Now along with creating this virtual network, it also asks us to specify a subnet. Let's go ahead and provide a subnet. Let's name it as front end. Here on the subnet under space ranges, this address should be subset of the address space of the virtual network. Let's go ahead and specify some subnet space ranges. Here if you see, we have specified /26. With the /26, we will get 64 addresses associated for us. Again, under the resource group section, if you have already created one, you can click on the use existing and select that. We haven't created any, so we will go ahead and create one for today's demonstration. Let's select the location as Southeast Asia. Click on Create. Clicking on the Create button will start the validation process. Once the validation is successful, it will create the virtual network for us. Once deployment succeeded, you can come to the virtual network section, search for the newly created virtual network and click on that. Now under the settings and overview section, you can see all the relevant information which is needed for this virtual network. Here you can come and click on the subnets and if needed, add additional subnets. The one which you have already created, that is going to be listed here. Now if you remember the virtual machine demonstration, there we have selected the default subnets and default address spaces for the virtual network because we never had any virtual network created. Now from now on, if you're going to create a virtual machine, you can select this virtual network as part of that virtual machine. Now what will happen, that virtual machine will be assigned a private IP which is going to come from the address range of 10.4.0.0/26. So in today's demonstration, we have learned how to create a virtual network and under that virtual network, how to create a subnet and what are the address spaces we can specify there.